Hello, it's Thursday. You know what that means.
Hello, everybody. It's Thursday, TheoryThursday with MikeRuggirello.
Well, yes. Hello there, I'm MikeRuggirello, your host of Theory Thursday. We are here today in collaboration with Singular Sound, and we have our esteemed co-host, Mr. Jason Thomas.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Just remember to please like, share, and also feel free to make some comments in the comments section. Any questions for the guys, I will relay that for you. And back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Jason. So you see, with us today, we have the infamous Mr. Dave Settimi of Boss Fight.
Hello. How's it going? I don't know if infamous is the right word, but
Well, how about you're right. Infamous would have been the word for Jason Thomas. How about the all powerful or the all practical Mr. Dave Settimi?
Oh, practical. I'll take that. Thank you.
Practicality.
Thank you for having me.
It's always good.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
It. Honored to be here, for sure.
Great, man. Thank you. What a rad jam. In fact, I think that's the first time that we've used Punk 1 at 300 BPM.
The fastest setting that we got.
We tried to go faster.
We did. And I would like to add another first. What is this whole monstrosity right here?
This is an MXR talk box. So what's cool about this is it's got a driver built into the box, so you don't have to kill yourself literally by electrocuting yourself trying to hook up the old school Heil talk box between the head and the cabinet. So the driver's in there, and you can just use it like a regular talk box. The way I have it wired, though, is I go out of my Peterson strobe tuner here, direct out of, and I just took one of those, like a mic converter that goes from XLR to quarter inch.
Okay.
And I jump it. So that way, when I go through here, if you look, if I go through here, I still have. So it's not cutting off. So it's not cutting off my tone.
And that's the stereo side. That's your right image.
No, it's both. Like both right and left image are working at the same time. So that way I don't have, it doesn't cut my signal.
I see. I understand now. Wow,
So-
that's awfully technical.
Right. So that way, when I'm playing, and like you hear my guitar come through, left and right image go through at the same time that this is going through. Usually, typically, even with this, if you don't jump it the way I have it jumped, it will cut your guitar signal off, and you won't hear any. And basically, this replaces the guitar. Well, not the way I have this work. The guitar still stays in the mix.
Awesome. How we doing over there, gentlemen? Okay, good. So, and you, my friend, we go way back. Dave and I, I know it's not the most important thing to describe my personal affairs, but Mr. Dave Settimi and I, we go back very far.
Over 20 years.
Yes, and it's so cool because, you know, we found each other. We found each other just like I found you guys on social media land with Facebook and YouTube, which we're broadcasting live on right now. And you are here in support of the wonderful big fat band called Boss Fight.
Correct. Yeah, we've been together for about just under 5 years as a full band. We're songwriting. Our singer and myself, Gilly. We've been writing music together since junior high. Like, we grew up in Lake Arrowhead together. That's where we grew up.
Okay.
We were together in a band called Godzilla, which was a hardcore punk band.
Great name for a band.
Yeah, you think so, but remember, it's been trademarked and copywritten already. So,
Wow, if you get chased,
Yes.
you know, like
Yeah,
subpoenaed, I think that's a good thing.
we got a cease and desist, you know, at 19 years. You know, we were 19 years old. So I pretty much put an end to that, amongst, you know, other things. But the fact remains that Brian / Gilly and I have been writing music since we were adolescents together. And so at the end of our corporate life, which I ended a 20-year career with Guitar Center, which is where I met you.
That's
initially.
where Dave and I met back in 1997, along with Mario Rodriguez and Hector Maldonado.
Mario, dude, I miss you, bro. I'm in town. Give me a call.
Look at that.
Should hook up.
We'll make sure you guys get in contact.
Come on, Chubbs. Hook me up.
In fact, do a little comment. Speak to us, everybody. Where are you chiming in from? I established last week how we're very proud to know that there's different parts of the world. Oh yeah, you mind turning that channel off? Different parts of the world that are saying hello to us and watching this channel. So we're very happy. Thank you so much for being with us. And let us know where you're coming in from. That means you, Mario. So go ahead and write San Diego, California. Back to you, man. So, look at this silver Les Paul we have here. I commented on your guitar earlier.
Yeah, I've had it for about 10 years now.
Is that the your AB box down there?
Yeah, my AB box. So I that's where I split my tone.
We have Cam on that right now?
I am loading it up right now.
I split my tone at the AB box, and pardon the noise.
It's okay.
I usually use a ground lift there.
60 cycle hum is, you know, it's a very welcome tone in this room.
All right, excellent. So I split it there, and that way I'm able to go stereo with my delays. And so I use TC Electronics for my time-based effects. I have
Very specific. I like that.
yeah. You know what? For the money, they're the best.
I will agree with you.
You know, and they're it's all.
I was mentioning the Gravy. What a cool pedal.
Yeah, and that was a limited edition pedal that was only out for a small amount of time. It's basically your Univibe.
Okay.
So
is that
it's-
like exclusive to a certain chain? Because
Yeah,
I know that they do that.
It was exclusive to the chain for which we both worked for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the transition as well was exclusive to that same chain. However, Barry Mitchell, if you're listening, he was the genius behind all of those pedals, and he's no longer there. He works for independent pedal companies, and he's Barry Mitchell's also the genius behind the Golden Cello. Do you know?
I love that pedal.
Right.
Our good buddy Chris just bought that pedal, and you know what, my buddy Chris, he'll call me every other day. He's like, dude, I just got the coolest tone with it's just one pedal.
So that's meant to be just a delay with meant to mock Golden Cello. So whose tone is meant to sound like a Golden Cello? Eric Johnson. Yeah. So the whole idea of that pedal was to make it to sound like Eric Johnson's lead tone, Cliffs of Dover. Right, that whole thing.
Okay.
So when Barry was creating this pedal with Mad Professor, that's the tone I'm going for, and he nailed it. So if you listen to the 50, the other one is there's a couple of Mad Professor pedals that do that. There's also one that has a brown sound.
Right. What's that called? Is that reverb and distortion?
Yeah, guess who that is? Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen, that makes sense.
That's off of Van Halen 1.
The brown sound.
Right, so Barry Mitchell was the brains behind a lot of that stuff. You're not going to see that stuff coming out of that chain anymore because he's not there anymore.
I see.
But he did the Gravy, he did the transition, and the Helix is just the TC Electronics normal phaser. And then I think my oldest pedal on this here is my full tone, which I've had for 20 years.
Look at that, guys. A 20-year-old full-tone wah pedal.
Wow.
What's going on?
No, we're good.
Okay.
That's wow on the pedal.
You know, I would like to put a little personal thank you out to Barry and say thank you for doing such great work. Those were, as far as I can tell, the 4 pedals that we mentioned, I was very impressed, whether it be the magazine ad or the YouTube video. So thanks, Barry.
Yeah,
great work.
that's Barry in a lot of those videos, too. That's him.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, guy's an amazing guy.
that was a nice surprise.
I love you, Barry.
Excellent information there, guys. So yeah, I mean, between your TC Electronics being your modulation and time bass, we have the 20-year-old full tone. Can we hear a little of that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That is a rad tone. What's that called?
The Clyde?
It's still called the Clyde.
Yeah, that's the original Clyde. This was when Mr. Fuller was still bending metal in his garage here in San Diego.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
I thought he. Well, I mean, I'm under. I
He's
know that
from
he lives. He is okay. I know that he lives in Venice.
yeah, he's from here. He lives in Venice. He moved all operations up there, but he used to do all of the stuff he did down here at first. And in our store there in San Diego was the only chain store that sold his stuff at first.
I do remember that. That was a big deal back in 1997.
Yep.
So today, guys, we are using the Beat Buddy. We're gonna say hi to Jeff. Hey, Jeff. He's our.
Hi, Jeff.
Yes, Jeff Bonham, everybody. So, we did have, this is what Punk won at 282 BPM sounds like. So listen to how ferocious and fast this is. This is going to be a segue into our next bit. But let's just give Jeff some love for a moment. Squash a little bit of automation. Yeah, go for it. Do some stuff. I'll be your DJ. Was that an E actually? Oh no, yeah, it was a.
Yeah, it's an E, but D.
Yeah, right.
432.
I mean, we can still call it the.
We can still call it what normal people would call it.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about the chord of the day, Mike?
You know, I was thinking about that, Jason. Sitting here jamming with Dave, and hearing some of these boss fight moves. Yeah, whoo!
It's a boss fight.
Yes,
I gotta
it's
kill
boss fight.
King
I have
Koopa.
good kung fu, boy.
Yes, indeed you do.
Your kung
So,
fu is not very strong.
I'm going to go ahead and put a little heat on Dave Settimi right now, and I'm going to let him just choose the chord of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a chord and not a chord progression.
You can do progression,
It could
whatever
be a
you want.
progression,
Okay,
just something that feels
So
good.
So what I was able to do with what's cool about with being in boss fight, what I was able to do that was really cool, was take a lot of things that I wrote on acoustic and incorporate it into some heavier music.
Okay.
So like this last shot off of our record, Last Shot, I was able to use like some real open. I like real open sounding chords, right?
That's cool. subtle, but they use range. And depending on how nice your amplifier is,
Exactly.
you'll really hear those open strings. That's beautiful. I love that you do that with that much. And I wouldn't say you're using that much gain, but that's enough gain where it's like, F you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to show you some classic chords. You know,
Well-
I think it's great.
Well, and the way we started off too is it's a clean tone, and it builds.
Ah.
Right. So it starts off real clean.
Let's hear it
See,
clean.
we hear it clean. Okay. So
Do you want some support? I think I can probably deliver a groove for you.
yeah, sure. So basically, when the song builds, it starts off real simple and slow like this, right? So.
That's awesome.
Very good. So basically,
That was beautiful. I like that a lot.
thank you. Yeah. The other thing, the reason why it's so clear, and it was something that we were messing around with, was our tuning. So
Let's bring that up for a little while.
there was this thing swirling around, and I see it go around social media every now and then about tuning in 432 megahertz instead of 440 megahertz. I read this thing about how Prince, that was how he tuned, and so we tried a couple of rehearsals with it, and we didn't really notice much at first, except for we did notice that our singer could hit the high octave vocally, and because we're a power trio, so you need to be able to sound big with just three of us. So he was able to hit his high octave and his low octave and still hit it in the middle. And I was noticing my harmonies were able to hit, and I wasn't struggling to hit my harmonies all together.
Just made it lower.
Right, exactly. So we thought that was cool, but when we got in the studio and started to actually record, and starting to talk to somebody else about the science of it, the semitones, like going out at like 440 or whatever, like when you have something like this, like something like a chord like that, that sounds really clear, right? Well, at 440, the semitones, because you're not, or even like a chord like this, where you're augmenting something, it's not like a straight major or minor chord.
Major third.
Right, a major third or anything like that, where it's
Major 7, actually.
where it's, where the revolutions are, where they cross each other, right? Those tones are,
Intervallically speaking,
Right.
he's talking about combinations of intervals and how the waves, how fast the waves move.
How they react with each other.
so those semitones are hitting at the same time. Whether at 440 they're doing this, right, and so it's going to sound muddier, not as clear.
So you figured out, it makes sense to you that if you slow it down,
Right, but instead of
just-
slowing it down this or this,
you drop the tuning down to
right,
E flat, and it's not just straight E flat; it's E flat and a
Flat.
half.
And
flat.
obviously,
like
I
a
think
turn down, like
exactly.
just a
And so
kick down.
at first we didn't. At first it was just trying it, right? And I wasn't a big believer at first, but the more we started to be able to explore it, like I don't think I'll ever go back to straight 440 tuning unless I'm on my acoustic or something like that.
So that's awesome information, dude. I love hearing stuff like that here on Theory Thursday. Now, here's the next thing I got for you on that. What has it done for you? Because for me, it's such a deep topic. I think it's very emotional, the results. Is it?
Yeah. Well, if you scientifically, that 432 is naturally occurring in nature, right? So your body is more in harmony with the oscillation of 432 versus 440. Now, if you really want to get deep with it,
Yes, we do.
okay, so Hitler did a lot of with Neumann, did a lot of experiments on the human body and sound. Right? They noticed that if you started to crank up the megahertz, it would start to get people, it would wind people up. So at those youth rallies, they noticed 440 megahertz is when it would get people more intense, right? So and if you take it before all of those experimental stuff that was going on, 432 is what orchestras tune out. It's orchestra tuning, right? So this whole phenomenon of 440 was really something that got picked up around World War II. Okay, and it's not until recently that people have been. I mean, you've got like Motley Crue and Shout Out the Devil. That was all recorded, a half a step down.
Correct.
Right. So I mean, and you notice you can hear those dark bitchin' like riffs flying off the fretboard.
Totally.
But this is a little bit. It's just even a notch lower than that, right? So it's nothing really new, but what's old is new.
Yes, indeed.
And that's kind of what it's like for us. Because
kind of reminds me of theory. Like if you know it and you know how to apply it,
right.
It's special, and the world does not care if you do it or not.
Correct.
It's just more about what you know and how to apply it. That is wonderful information. I thought we were going to go down the rabbit hole of why Jimmy Page and Prince were doing it, but
why don't you go for it?
I don't know that. I've only read about that. It sounds like you've absorbed more of this.
Well, Prince did it because he felt like, and this is just the research that I did. Jimmy Page did it to see the devil. There's a whole another thing.
Of course he did.
Right, but I know that Prince did it because he felt that it was more harmonious to people listening. He's like that guy was an absolute genius.
Oh yeah.
And like with the perfect pitch, with like and if for me, have you seen that dude play guitar?
Oh yes.
Literally one of the best guitar players you're ever gonna see.
It's Hendrix on a telly, baby.
Right. So if I'm gonna model myself after somebody, I'm gonna model myself after somebody great like that. And what's great for us is when we go play live, you know what I hear the comments are is, you guys were really loud, but it was more like big sounding. It wasn't like too loud in my face where I felt like I had to walk away because you guys were too loud. But it was different. Like those other bands, like they were like
just tense, edgy.
Yeah, but for some reason, like you were louder than they were to me, but it was. So they didn't know. They knew something was different, but they couldn't put their finger on what it was.
Yeah, that
right?
makes sense. It makes absolute sense.
And if you're the only guy, like let's say, in classic punk today, you're playing with. Very rarely do you get a 3-band night where you're playing with 3 bands. It's 4 or sometimes 5 other bands. And
is that lately some of the acts? Because you mentioned that you were on tour.
Yeah, we just got off a small Southern California tour, and
some of those nights were 3-4 bands.
Some of those nights were. One of those nights was 5 bands.
And where were you in that night? In the middle, second?
We were in the middle. We don't like to play first, and we don't like to play last.
But coming in and off stage, it's a little stressful. You got it. Did you have a guitar tech? Did you have anyone helping?
No. Right now we're not in a place where we can do that. So
in other words, you're moving fast, and you know how to set up your gear efficiently.
Yeah. And like you said today, you got set up really fast. Well, I'm ready to go, dude.
Yeah.
You have to be.
And he's also a stereo guy.
Yeah.
And that's another neat thing that Dave Settimi and I and this show have in common. We love stereo.
As long as you're using stereo for stereo's sake and not just to be like some loud,
Why don't you inform us what that might mean?
Well, especially like with
and show us
like
what the chord. Like right now, Dave's stereo. He's got an up and right system right here. We don't have the spread, but your audio pleasure is in stereo while he plays.
So explain. like with time-based effects, so anything like phaser, delays, you hear that? So you're going to hear those delay taps come from this side to that side to this side to that side, and hence give you that
ping pong,
that ping sound. So you gotta.
Yeah.
Right. So you get that real sense of.
Well, it's depth.
Depth, that's the word, right?
You know, that wave that we were talking about, when something's moving like this, ladies and gentlemen, if you have two amplifiers, just like your ears, a human being goes through life in stereo. So why not set your amp up in stereo? When we're talking about effects, spending lots of money on phasers and delays, and this thing that Dave's talking about, why not give you the spread so you can hear that?
Or like with a phaser, which is one of my favorite stereo effects, because you actually can hear the time of the phase go from the left speaker to the right speaker and then back to the left speaker
that's really
again.
cool.
You
That
know?
sounds so rad.
So.
Speaking of, keep talking and showing. I'm going to set us up for the next riff. Yeah. Yeah, keep going. So this is what Jason and the Beat Buddies sound like by themselves. We're at Rock 4 at 64 BPM, and that was playing one of Boss Fight's. What song was that?
Days of Grey.
Yes, what a rad riff. Super groovy, cool riff, man.
Thanks, bro.
It's a little more than punk in there, though.
Yeah,
I hear
you
a
got
lot
some.
of
There's
Yeah,
progressive.
progressive and a lot of metal too. So you hear
You know what? I spent like a good. Who didn't listen to metal when they were a kid? So when I was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, it was Quiet Riot, AC/DC, Van Halen. But when you get indoctrinated, and that's what it is,
Great word.
into the punk rock scene, you're forced to leave behind all of that, or be called, a poser, or and you're a teenager, so and you just want to fit in. So oops, sorry. So you live off your daily, Dead Kennedys, Circle Jerks, Bad Religion, all of those, which all of those bands I love, but we also grow up, right? And it was great for us in this writing process, because Marcos Curiel from POD, he produced our record. So
Lucky guy.
Yeah, so lucky. We're totally blessed to have him. He's a good friend of ours whom I met through Guitar Center 20 years ago.
That's the guitar player of POD, everybody.
And who comes from a metal background,
Right.
and it was like, you know what? Let's write a record for us, Let's not try to write a record that all the punk kids are going to like. Let's not try to write a record that all the metal kids are going to write. Let's write a record of who we are. Like we came up listening to Maiden. We came up, listening to like Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Like for me, if I have to think of the quintessential rock album of the '80s, it's Appetite for Destruction. I don't care what anybody says.
Here, I think that's a fantastic record.
So and I don't get me wrong, I like State Euphoria, and I love Anthrax, and I love,
Yeah, you just get calling some good shit right now.
I love, Justice for All, Master of Puppets, Kill 'Em All. I love all that stuff, but to me, when I think of the '80s, of course you think of Van Halen, Motley Crue, but Appetite for Destruction and what they did there, and what they did with that record. And just the guitar tones on it. And
Which song? What 3 songs?
Mr. Brownstone. Well, the whole record. Right, like the whole. So Mr. Brownstone, Rocket Queen, but
I love Rocket
If
Queen.
you listen to Rocket Queen,
Yeah.
like the guitar tone on that,
Dude.
it seems to be better than all of the rest, and all the rest sound really fucking good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Sorry,
That's right.
really good. But
Yeah.
but on Rocket Queen specifically, like there's something there,
Yeah.
like especially with that guitar interlude towards the end of it. Sure, everyone likes Welcome to the Jungle and Paradise City, but those aren't my favorites.
You dive into that record, you get to the back,
right?
the back 9.
Yeah,
That's when they start flexing.
That's actually
Yeah, I
the parts
agree.
that I like about
My
that.
Michelle.
yeah. My Michelle.
God.
To me,
Mr. Brownstone is probably my
to me,
favorite
My Michelle
song.
has
Great
like a
song.
punk rock like vibe to it.
Totally.
You see Slash in those days wearing a Wasted Youth t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't know who Wasted Youth are or were, that's a punk rock band from the 80s, right? So you know where their roots came from.
Yeah.
So to me, that was the best record to come out of the 80s. So when we're writing this record, we wanted to incorporate, you're going to hear Motorhead on there. You're going to hear Maiden on there. You're going to hear Bad Religion, Rise Against on there. But you're going to hear, you're going to hear a lot of stuff that, you're going to hear some progressive sounding stuff on there. It's not because that's what we tried to do. It's that's what came out.
Well, you like you said, you made a record for you,
Right.
And it shows. I listened to the record, and I listened to it twice actually. Well, in preparation for you, and I loved it. I mean, it was.
Thank you. Appreciate
it was,
that.
It was very cool. And like I said, if you get a chance, you definitely guys check it out. It sounds great. I mean, it's like one of the best.
Where's it
sounding
available?
records. I got that. Yeah, it's probably the local stuff like the Bandcamp and iTunes and stuff too. But yeah.
So it's on Bandcamp. It's like you said, it's on iTunes. It's on Spotify. You can go to our website at bossfight.band. We have a whole line of merch you can get if you're into it. But and we play a lot, and we're starting to branch out from San Diego now because this is really what we want to do for a living.
Yeah.
Like I've done my corporate time. I'm done with that. Like we're putting everything. If you listen to that record, we put everything we had into it. And how many times? I mean, we're all older musicians, right? So how many times have you gone into the studio and said, okay, we only got 40 hours.
I still haven't done that.
So you need to go in, and you have 2 hours to lay your guitar tracks.
I want to be stressed out in that capacity.
But whenever you do that, though, whenever you get in behind that 8-ball, you always leave feeling unfulfilled because you're settling, right? And you listen back to all the takes, and even after it's been mastered, and you're like, you know what? I don't like that about it.
I wish I could have done that
Right.
differently. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you that this record has none of that.
Yeah.
No compromise.
No
I can tell. I
compromise.
mean, you could like listen to it. I mean, this whole Mike called them last time. I'm like, you gotta listen to it. It's like it's super cool.
Yeah, it was in
it's
a
like-
heavy rotation all morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So, and in this world, like where everything is consumed and not experienced,
Yeah.
right? That's what we're on Spotify because people like. That's how some people like to consume music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was a kid, and I still do. I like to experience music. I like to pull. I like the record. I like to look at the
all
art.
the tactility,
The whole
the
whole
feelings.
thing. Yeah.
You got
Of course.
tangibility.
Read the lyrics.
Yeah.
Check out my record. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like just, oh wow,
Even when there was
God, it even smells good.
The CDs too. Yeah.
Even with CDs, like you open it up, look at the artwork. like that part of it got lost for a minute because I think the generation coming up behind us didn't see the value in it. Well, I think now they're starting to realize that they're missing something and that experience matters.
Well, it's also
It really does.
something tangible too, like to actually connect.
Well, that was back when we had a record industry.
Back when in
Well, there's
America
a
we had a
record
record
industry
industry,
now,
and
everything's going vinyl these days, which I'm very happy to.
Yeah,
that doing
it's to
so.
me it's good.
There is a
Like,
resurgence, but it's not back to what we knew.
No.
Yeah.
We have to create that. And all of you out there that are artists that spend time and money on your albums, you're doing it too. You guys know what that means. It's
Well, and also it takes so much less to record a record these days than it did even when we were younger. Like someone can go buy an interface and a computer and put out and it's not it's but even then like you're at the control, so you know.
I still had a very intimate experience making my record.
Right.
You know, it wasn't the grandiose going to a studio, but I think I still have respect for that, what it was, the process.
And I think that a lot of people, you're wading through
Not to mention, you finish it.
Right. Well, but also you see people, everyone's doing a record and putting it up there. And people have an attention span this big. So, and some people can't really tell the difference between what we did and what somebody else did in their garage that took a half a day.
Yeah.
You know, that was a recording process. What you hear on there was a whole summer of tracking.
Yeah.
And then we spent 2 months in the fall, like going in and fixing and punching.
Little things. Yeah.
Right? And then we spent 3 months mixing. And then another month and a half. I mean, we're talking about a year creating this. You know?
Well, I think people could definitely tell the difference between your album and someone doing it in the garage.
But you gotta
I can tell
listen
that,
to
like
it though.
that.
You gotta spend
Well, that's what I'm saying.
the 5 to 10 to 15 minutes and get invested. You know.
And people don't want to get invested. And that's and the trick for us right now is trying to like, look, we did this. Yeah, it's for us, but this is worth listening to.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know,
Yeah.
so how do you get people to understand that this is worth listening to, and your buddies who recorded in the garage, who you've been spinning for 2 days straight, like, really isn't really worth your time.
Right.
And I don't want to say that, but I'm going to say that like we spent a lot of time and energy to bring this into being, and a lot of people.
You can ride that for many years until you do a follow-up. It's probably a good idea to do a follow-up next year, but
Well, we're writing.
but I say milk it, baby.
We're writing new tunes right now. And
I'm sure you are.
And it's we have
Any new riffs you want to show us?
Yeah, I'll show you something new that we're doing.
Yeah, let Dave Settimi bust out a new riff.
It's a little more progressive. So I take that chord.
E minor 7, badass. Nice little harmonics there. Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
That's rad. That's a
And
good
so
fat riff right there.
So the drums are more. It's not like your straight ahead like punk beat. It's like, I don't know if you've listened to the Bronx or
I'm not familiar with the Bronx.
even Mastodon, that type
Yeah,
of
sure.
thing. But-
Okay, yeah, it's more of the swing. It seems bluesy, but the drummer's got a double bass pedal.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and it's expanding us. The drummer we have, Paul, now, he comes from a family of drummers.
Wow, cool.
And his dad is like he's an OG drummer back like in the discipline of John Bonham, and he plays a 26-inch Ludwig Visselite kick.
Cool.
Right, and it's big. It sounds big, and this kick drum was his dad's. who we bought it brand new in the 70s, right? So his dad plays and has been playing professionally for 35, 40 years. He plays professionally, our drummer, and then he has all of his brothers play an instrument. So it comes from a family of musicians, and we're really, really excited to have
Very
him.
inspirative. That sounds great.
So yeah.
So we're getting to that time, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Settimi, what a guy, right?
Right.
Write in the comments if you have any questions about our pedals, some of the talk that we were getting deep about that one wonderful, the whole A3, 438? 432?
432.
That's right. If you have any questions about that, you know what to do, write in the comment. Throughout the week, the four of us here, Mr. David Wright from SWR Video, he's going to be combing the thread just like myself and Jason Thomas. And I'm sure Dave, now that he's a part of the show, all four of us are going to be looking at your comments all week. So take your time. It doesn't have to be right now. It could be tomorrow. It could be next week. We'll get to your questions. I would like to say thank you very much for Kurt Mangan, our brand new sponsor, who actually gave us our own string. Jason, go ahead and show the audience what our new strings look like. We have 10 gauges right now. What's your string gauge?
10 to 52
Okay.
with a round third.
Well, I can give you a 10 to 46. But we aim to please here at Theory Thursday. I know that it's going to be, we'll have 9s, 10s, and 11s, but someone as picky as yourself with his tuning. Next time, dude, next time you come on this show, I will make sure he has his gauges. And I would like to give you a set just to have a nice little, they're right there on my speaker. Go ahead and give me that. Thank you, Jason.
We have great parting gifts for you.
Yes, it's our booby prize.
Thank you very much.
The booby prize.
And this is the first of many future gifts that we plan on taking care of our guests, because we love our guests. We want to promote them.
Sweet.
We want them to succeed just like this show. So if you're compelled and you love what you're hearing and you get great information like our guitar lesson. We didn't do a guitar lesson today.
We did the chord of the day.
Oh, we did the chord of the day. It was good, yes. So again, feel free to share the page and check out Boss Fight.
Yeah, and also just like we do at the end of the show, want to give the plugs where plugs are due for our guests. Boss Fight will be playing it Brick by Brick tomorrow night, July 14th. Make it there if you can. Do you know what time you guys go on?
We go on at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Okay, so the early spot.
And we're playing with Bullets and Octane. If you haven't seen that band, they're coming back out of basically a long hiatus, so better catch them.
Cool.
And also, I wanted to mention your Slaboratory clothing company.
Slaboratory,
That's your...
they're a punk rock clothing company that's been really, really supporting us along the way, and our new record, Days of Grey, which you can pick up at any of the major online outlets, including bossfight.band, our website.
Yeah, I was just going to get to that, Boss Fight. And I want to let you guys know that me and Mike are playing this Saturday at Helix Brewing Company in La Mesa. Come out if you get a chance.
Is that a Fusebox gig?
It is a Fusebox gig, yes.
Are we playing Zappa tunes?
We might play a Zappa tune or two.
Oh, well.
And we also have a special guest that night, too, George Piper.
Oh, George Piper, yes.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Dave, from SWR Video Productions. Dave's right there. His hand almost, what is that? Thing, cousin,
ready to
thing.
go 300 BPM.
Yeah, and also obviously Singular Sound for helping us out, and Beat Buddy. And I think that's it for the news. So back to you, Mike.
All right, I'm MikeRuggirello. We will see you next week with, who is our wonderful guest next week?
I think it's, let me see. I forgot to write that note down there. We should have done that earlier. I think.
Slackers.
Is it Ronnie Lee?
I know.
Ronnie James Dio, is that what you
said? Is it Don Hickey?
Don Hickey's the 27th? No.
Well, we're going to sit here and suspend our show until we tell you who's coming on next week.
We gotta let you know who's coming on next week, so.
I can go ahead and tell you. That's what we got our little phones here for.
Yeah, I just tried to load that up.
Here at Theory Thursday, we get very distracted, and there's a lot of information there's a lot of things to remember.
Guess who's coming next week?
Oh.
It's the guy who's playing with us this weekend.
Oh! George Piper.
George Piper on the 20th.
You're in the hot seat next week, baby.
All right.
So, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. Dave Settimi, Boss Fight. We got our groove. Here we go, baby.
Bye.